I had planned a very bland, a very sterilized remembrance of Shad Gaspard, and I really spent about 20 minutes on it, and then I scrapped it. I scrapped the whole thing because I decided that now was the time really to really go at things a different way, to sort of explain to people why Shad Gaspard was dope, and what I liked about Crime Time. Now I wasn't a huge, I couldn't tell you a Crime Time match, I really couldn't, but it wasn't really about the matches. Now, there's two ways to look at Crime Time. There's an uncharitable way, and then there's the charitable way. The first way is the uncharitable way. This is to assume that Crime Time is racist, that is white folks stereotyping black people as criminals and thugs, especially in this age of, with the Ahmaud Arbery situation and the Trayvon Martin situation. And every time a black man gets shot or arrested or something like that, his mugshot is on TV. It makes sense that people would be, well, sensitive to these sorts of topics. And of course, there's always this idea that people are forced into doing things that they don't want to do. So the subject would be, two black guys who are just trying to make it in the wrestling business get this gimmick thrust upon them, and they're forced to play these roles. And hey, they did the best they could at it. That's sort of the sort of leftist way of looking at it, the sort of SJW new black way of looking at things. But then there's the other way, the more charitable way, the way that actually makes more sense because it's more in line with everything that I've seen and heard about Crime Time. As that is, Crime Time is a parody. That Crime Time is based off of, it's kind of like the movie CB4. If you've ever seen the movie CB4, and I've seen the movie, and it basically shows how rappers use thug life and gangsterism to sort of for mass appeal, and how they use it to become successful even when that's not really them. Now we never really got that growth with Crime Time. They were kind of stuck as another way to look at it, which is along the same vein, is to look at it as the black Los Guerreros. Like if you liked Chavo and Eddie, the lie, cheat, and steal. That's kind of what Crime Time was doing. They were the lie, cheat, and steal, the black version. Except for but if you looked at Crime Time and you looked at the gear, the entire characterization of Crime Time, for starters, it was the idea of JTG and Shad Gaspard. They had been doing it before they came to WWE. They were doing it in OVW. Has been said repeatedly by JTG, who continuously keeps being asked about it. But he said that they were doing this gimmick before they came to WWE. All WWE did was add certain elements to the characters. Like they changed the name. Like the name was originally the Gang Stars, but the name was the name Gang Stars was already trademarked, so they had to go a different way. So they named them Crime Time. But if you look at the gear of Crime Time, the boots and the jeans, JTG's got a grill on. He always wears a do rag. He got a bulletproof vest on. It's obviously a parody of rappers at the time. It's pretty obvious to anybody who's paying attention. How over the top he is with the dancing. He's doing the Soldier Boy dance in some scenes, and it's really over the top and silly. And it's played up for laughs. It's not played up to be malicious, as if they're legitimate thugs or anything like that. It's done in a humorous way, much like Los Guerreros was done in a humorous way, much like CB4 is a comedy movie. CB4, I meant to say this earlier, but CB4 is a parody of the NWA, the niggas with attitude, the Ice Cube, Dr. Dre group from the 1980s. Because of course, people found out later on that a lot of those gangster rappers, like Ice Cube, wasn't really gangster rappers. So that was kind of the impetus for something like CB4, which came out in like the mid '90s. So people have known for a long time that a lot of this gangster stuff is not being true, even though for some people it is true. But you have Shad Gaspard was from Brooklyn, and Brooklyn is known for the Timberland boots, the Robin scene. If you've ever listened to rap music from from Brooklyn, other than Jay-Z, let's just say, if you ever listen to like MOP or something like that, you had Annie Up. Annie Up is the biggest song from MOP. It's completely boots and jeans, thugged out. It's a song about robbing people. Annie Up, Jack that fool. Annie Up. That's how the song goes. And if you look at the song, or if you look at that sort of visual, if you're familiar with rap music from that era, from the early '90s and the early 2000s, you can see that Cryme Tyme was a parody of that. I mean, the bulletproof vest, obviously, the bulletproof vest and the do rag and all that type of stuff came from 50 Cent. The boots and the jeans, that's typical New York, Brooklyn stuff. You know, how they talk, the money, money. Yeah, yeah. All that stuff comes from like regular black culture. So you have to kind of be up on that to know it. And I know a lot of people who are sensitive and uh they don't get it. But that's kind of what it was. It was a parody, and I think WWE even put out a statement before Cryme Tyme even debuted that it was a parody. So they couldn't even let the they couldn't even let it work. They warned people beforehand. They gave people a trigger warning before it even happened that Cryme Tyme was a Saturday Night Live kind of spoof of modern blackness. And to be quite honest, that it's not really the last time. Most black athletes, most black professional wrestlers are a spoof of black culture. The Street Profits are currently they're a spoof of the modern rappers. If you look at the way Montez Ford dresses and the way he behaves and the way that D'Angelo Dawkins talks is a spoof of modern, black America. MVP when he first came was sort of a spoof of, Deion Sanders, the multi-million dollar athlete. That sort of idea. It's not out of the ordinary for black wrestlers to take something from their particular culture and then exaggerate it. But of course, certain people who don't belong to that culture, which we say new blacks and SJWs, which would be white people, they don't seem to get that. They seem to view everything uncharitably, and they view everything through the terms of politics and not uh as something that could be fun and interesting and something that could be toyed with. And considering that considering these are the same people who push wrestling as an art form, they really don't seem to get the art of the art form. That it's all about characters, and characters have personalities. They have wants and needs and motivations. And Cryme Tyme was interesting in so much that how they portrayed the characters, and the characters were fun. The characters got over, and it was good and it was great. And um again, I wasn't a fan of the end of the matches. I really wasn't. But a lot of their moments were really funny. And so I wanted, instead of going through a very bland, boring, oh, Shad Gaspard was so cool, man, I'm just going to go through I'm going to give you my two favorite Cryme Tyme moments. One of them was after Lita's final match at Survivor Series. Oh, I don't even remember what year, but she had just lost her last match. She said she was retiring. I'm pretty sure that was Survivor Series. It might have been a different event, but she lost, and Cryme Tyme stole her bag, and they started selling all of the stuff out of her bag, and JBL wanted to buy her panties. That's my favorite Cryme Tyme moment, is when they were selling Lita's panties outside the arena. And I love that. I love that. I think that was really cool. My second favorite Cryme Tyme moment was the Royal Rumble. I forget which Royal Rumble it is, but Cryme Tyme's theme music plays, and both Shad and JTG come out, and they flip a coin to see which one of them is going to enter the match. And JTG calls heads, and they flip the coin, and it's heads, and JTG runs to the ring. And then you find that Shad picks up the coin and finds out that it's a two-headed coin, and that just shows that they were pranksters. That they even tried to get over on each other, and I really love that. I like the playfulness of it. It was a fun gimmick. Again, if you want to talk about work rate, no, they weren't great workers, quote unquote, but they were great characters, and they were fun. And they were, the Enzo Amores before, the Enzo and Cass before there was Enzo and Cass. They were the sort of the blueprint to the Street Profits, even though the Street Profits are actually a little bit more like MVP meets Cryme Tyme, but they were original, and I liked them, and it kind of sucks that we see people uh, judge the characters without knowing the motivations behind it or without understanding the characters, because they view everything through a certain political lens and they can't see the world in any other way. But, hopefully now that, unfortunately Shad Gaspard passed away on May at some point, some instance between May the 17th, I think, and May the 20th. So that we don't know exactly what day he died, but it's unfortunate that he actually passed away. And it's also unfortunate that it took for Shad Gaspard to die before people actually noticed how kind of comically brilliant Cryme Tyme was, and that maybe it was a gimmick that wasn't going to last forever, but was something fun for its time, and it fit its time, and maybe people will actually look at things a lot more favorably today than they would in the past, because uh relax and have fun. So Shad Gaspard was a hell of a man. He drowned, unfortunately, but he got the lifeguards to save his son, and that's what matters. He's a hell of a man. He's actually stopped an armed robbery a couple of years ago. He told that story on TMZ. And he was just an amazing dude. And I'm going to remember the Cryme Tyme moments. And like I say, when wrestlers die, their legacy to us, as wrestling fans, is what they left on screen, and we get to enjoy that because that never dies. So I'll see you guys later. Thank you very much, and rest in peace, Shad Gaspard.
Yo, 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 yo! Shad Gaspard and JTG, it's Cryme Tyme!